Loyal warriors of the Emperor, it's time to don your power armor. We've got some heretics to burn. My name is Codiak. Welcome to Legacy Gaming. This is our brutally honest review of Warhammer 40k Boltgun. As always, we want to show our appreciation to the team over at Focus Entertainment for supplying us with a review copy of the game. The Warhammer 40k franchise is one our entire team always enjoys jumping into, and it was fun to experience the world reimagined in a unique way. With Boltgun apparently being a narrative sequel to 2011's Space Marine and Space Marine 2 slated to release later this year, the game dropped at the perfect time to fill that giant 40k void in our hearts. Let me tell you, when it comes to Boltgun, the Emperor would be proud. For those that aren't aware by this point, Warhammer 40k Boltgun is a boomer shooter, looking and playing like other retro titles from the past, such as Doom, Quake, and of course the OG, Duke Nukem. Developed by Auroch Digital and published by the indie branch of Focus Interactive, you play as an Adeptus Astartes, a battle-hardened space marine whose sole mission it is to protect humanity and rid the universe of all xeno-threats in the name of the God Emperor himself. This time around, you'll be picking up where Captain Titus left off, purging heretics and the forces of chaos from the Adeptus Mechanicus Forge world, Graia. Right off the bat, it's clear everything in Boltgun was clearly created by a studio that both values and loves the source material. Space Marines are big, and they're heavy, 1,000 plus pounds heavy, but with so many bio and cybernetic enhancements, they're also agile and borderline unstoppable killing machines. Just give a listen to our character here right off the rip. As soon as we experienced that moment, just a minute or so into the game, we knew Boltgun was going to be something special. The team clearly understood the assignment. Your Space Marine walks and runs with appropriate weight, and that experience carries over into the combat as well, which is surprisingly fluid. It all falls in line with other games in the boomer shooter genre, but there are several modern improvements that make this feel like more than just another entry in a retro 90s lineup. The sprint is responsive and can be used not only to gain a quick burst of speed, but you can leverage it to cross large gaps or even utilize it in combat to body check enemies around you, exploding them into tiny bits of goodness. You can also mantle up ledges, and I know that's pretty much standard fare nowadays, but nothing feels more frustrating in a boomer shooter than making that jump and falling to your death because you didn't clear a ledge by a pixel. This also allows the team to hide secret power-ups on every map that often requires you to use these movement systems to reach them. Finally, you can't forget about your trusty chainsword. As a Space Marine, you should never leave home without it, and here, it actually plays a vital role in both combat and movement. Holding down your melee button within generous range of an enemy will highlight them and slow time for a short duration, allowing you to lock onto your target. Releasing the melee button will send that massive 1-ton suit of armor barreling towards said enemy, carving them up and sending bits flying all over your screen. And an even more satisfying notion, if the enemy has a large enough pool of health, common amongst the more elite enemies in the game, you'll actually need to mash that melee button in order to keep revving your chainsword, grinding away their HP with each passing second. Altogether, this makes movement in Boltgun feel extremely satisfying, and you can quickly go from carefully peeking corners and ranging down enemies to stringing together a symphony of close-quarter deaths with just your chainsword and body alone. It's seriously satisfying. We also have to point out the armor system in Boltgun. It's called Contempt, a very appropriate piece of 40k terminology that basically amounts to the more Space Marines hate what they're fighting, the more resilient they are in combat. It's a small detail, but a great one. Then we have to talk weapons, and I have to say, yet again, the team managed to nail not only the look, but also the feel of some iconic 40k weapons and fantastic pixelated fashion. Honestly, the Boltgun is the best feeling of all the weapons in the game, and I mean, with the title literally being Boltgun, I sure hope that would be the case. It's a solid weapon that performs at any range, and the team here nails the lethality of the weapon. For those that don't know, bolt guns and bolters fire what are essentially rockets the size of large bullets. In the lore, a single shot from one of these bad boys will explode the average human into a million pieces. In Boltgun, that's no different, and oftentimes a single shot will take out a humanoid threat, and that, to me, feels as iconic as running around with a shotgun in Doom. There are also some other deadly offerings, like the shotgun for more close to mid-range engagements, the plasma gun for taking on large hordes of nurglings or armored opponents, the melt-a-gun for dumping on just about anything in your way, and the heavy bolter. Oh man, the heavy bolter. The sound design and hit feedback across the board is just perfect here. It's what makes the combat oh so satisfying. Some may argue that you can just use whatever weapon you want to get the job done, making the combat somewhat simplistic. And while that is partially true at times, we did find plenty of situations where specific weapons dealt with certain enemies far better than others, and not having ammo for these enemies on harder difficulties, such as the Chaos Champions or Terminators, could cause the situation to quickly get out of control. So there is a bit of depth and game knowledge to be gleaned in this regard. Boltgun isn't perfect, and where the game does fall a bit flat is in its level design. Overall, the objective in nearly every level boils down to this: fight through an initial gauntlet of enemies, identify which set of colored keys you'll need to locate to open the doors blocking your path, find said keys, encounter several large open rooms where the lights dim and waves of enemies begin to spawn until you kill the very last one, open the last door, and exit the level. This is how almost every level in the game plays out. And while some bosses do break up the monotony and a myriad of branching paths sometimes throw you off your game, this is pretty much what you'll be doing up until you finish the game's roughly 8 to 10 hours of content. There were times where we genuinely got lost navigating to find keys or our objective due to both the lack of a map and the overall sprawling nature of any given level. Now, you might hate this or you might love it, so it's really one of those things you need to judge for yourself. I will say the team did do a solid job ensuring that there was enough variation within the levels. Tightly cramped corridors would often open up to larger, more ornate spaces, and this kept things feeling fresh for a time. But overall, the level design was the most boring part about the game. There was more room to grow here, and the game would have benefited from some more unique objectives or even increasingly elaborate puzzles to break up the heart-pumping Boltgun action. There is a small bit of redemption here as the enemy variety is good, and that helps keeps things interesting. From run-of-the-mill Chaos Cultists to hulking Chaos Terminators and Warp Demons, seeing all these iconic Warhammer 40k enemies in pixely goodness was a treat I think any 40k fan will come to appreciate with the title. Now, I can't say that with great power armor comes great replayability. If you're a 40k fan, you might get a few extra hours of replaying certain levels just to take in the visuals and enjoy a bit more combat, but that 8 to 10 hours of gameplay is likely all you're going to get with Boltgun. Even though the game is simple by many standards, I don't honestly believe a game needs to be complex to be good. There are plenty of those types of games out there. Not everything needs an intricate skill system, gear with stats, endgame loops. You get my point. Sometimes mindless fun and extremely polished systems are all you need in a solid video game, and here I think Boltgun hits it out of the park. It's not every day we get a new, good 40k game, and this time around we think Warhammer 40k Boltgun is absolutely worth checking out. Friends, I hope you enjoyed this brutally honest review for Warhammer 40k Boltgun. We love doing reviews of games and always appreciate you stopping by the channel to support us. If you are new and you want more content like this in your feed, hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing. There are so many more great games on the horizon, and we can't wait to cover them all with you here on the channel. I also want to invite you to join the Legacy Gaming community on Discord. We just revamped our entire server, so if you're looking for a place to hang out, talk about great games, win free prizes, and group up with friends, check out the link in the description below. My name is Codiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.